Well, good day wherever you are. Welcome to episode number 2 of eMediaChat. You know, Kirsten, they said it wouldn't last.
I know, we made it.
We made
Our
it.
second anniversary.
Second anniversary already. It's only been a week. This is good. Anyway, next to me is Kirsten Rourke. Well, sort of next to me. She's 3,000 miles away, but that's okay. We're only a Skype call away.
Exactly.
Hey, we've got a great guest today. You want to introduce him?
Yeah, today we have Jim Malloy, who is a brilliant, talented designer who I am fortunate enough to know. And I asked him if, since I dubbed him Mr. Muse, if he would come on and talk about Adobe Muse.
That sounds great. Hey, Jim, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am great. And when she told me you were going to talk about Muse, I go, You know, Muse is one of those products I sort of love-hate. I actually love it more than I hate it, but I hate the fact that...
It's good to hear since we're talking about it.
I know. I just hate that it didn't have enough features. However, I can see it as it evolves into being a great product. What do you think about Muse?
I think it's a fantastic product. Adobe's done a lot of work with it, and it's something that anyone who's familiar with print and not familiar with web can just about jump right into the web world, or the world of web, and hit the ground running. Let me hear what you think about it. I'd love to hear more about this love-hate, love a little bit more relationship that you have.
Well, it's interesting. When I first opened up Muse, I just got the Master Collection, saw it, and went, I love this. In particular, they copied, literally, almost 100%, the interface from NetObjects Fusion, which was an old web development tool from about 12, 13 years ago, actually like 14 years ago, which has been sold, acquired about 22 times. I think they're now back to being NetObjects Fusion by themselves, but they had that same flowchart kind of feel where you just basically diagram your website, which I think is brilliant. That is smart. It's just easy. Everybody can visually see what they've got to do, and it's really easy to lay out a site. I don't think anything lays out a site as easily as the way Muse does or NetObjects does. I guess I was missing features like, now I've been chastised for this. I was going, where's the tables? We happen to have on our website lists of things, and I couldn't figure out how to do it in Muse easily and elegantly. There was no word import or any other kind of really easy copy and paste. So I thought that was a little tough, especially if you've got people writing and then you go, okay, now I got to take their writing. Oh, shoot, how do I put it in here? And keep it clean. So those are some of the things I didn't like about it. And at the time, we were sort of heading to WordPress too, and so that Muse almost derailed the WordPress implementation, and we decided to stick with WordPress just for easy updates, just so we don't have to republish all the time, just go in, make a change, it's done. But I tell you, I love the general look and feel of Muse, and I think as they add more functionality and features, who needs Dreamweaver?
I agree with you. I'm sorry, Kristen, please go ahead.
I actually wanted to say, when we do have a couple of viewers who may not have ever encountered Muse and know exactly what Muse is, other than a kind of cool name. So, can you explain what it is that Muse does and why you would use it?
Certainly. Muse, which I'm glad it finally came out as Muse, because it's been codenamed Muse for about a year and a half or 2 years now, is Adobe's application that lets designers, even non-designers, I assume, create a website. It's incredibly easy to use if you are familiar with any of the Adobe interfaces, such as Illustrator, Photoshop, especially InDesign. Adobe, as they do, picked up a lot of the best parts of their other programs and put them all together so that you can wireframe a website and make a website work in as little as an hour. Anyone who doesn't know how to code, doesn't know CSS, doesn't know how to make a button or a link or any of the other hundreds of thousands of things that happen with the code level of a website, you don't need to worry about it. Muse is, it's going to help you a lot. Muse can be your web savior if you really need to get a website up and running and don't have the money to go through a developer or sit through hours and hours of new web design classes.
I agree. In fact, with Muse, I think we mocked up our whole website in less than 4 whole hours, and that included about an hour of learning curve. It didn't take that long to learn it. You're right. You just kind of jump in and go, it's intuitive.
I need to interrupt you guys for a quick second. Jim's coming through a lot louder than you and I are, Rick.
He is?
Can we drop him down just a little bit?
Interesting. That could be what you're hearing on Skype.
Okay.
Because on the, as I'm looking at the levels, we're all about the same.
Okay, so it's just Skype because it's coming through a little louder and a little distorted.
Yeah,
but as long as the recording's cool.
I'm getting a little bit of background. There's probably air conditioning noise or something that's coming in, but that just happens.
Okay.
I can lower him a little bit. Okay.
So what about people who are used to Dreamweaver?
If you're used to Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver has the code and design interface at the same time, where you can look at your code and you can see how it relates to the design. If you want to go the Dreamweaver route, go the Dreamweaver route. I don't think that Muse is going to replace it anytime soon. Muse is certainly not going to replace coding and developing and everything else that happens, let's say, behind the scenes of a website overnight. Most likely because Muse has not happened overnight. I started using Muse when it was in beta 0.2. And as Rick said, Adobe rolled out Muse officially earlier this year with CS6, and only 2 weeks ago, I believe now, Muse had its second major release. It's less than a year, less than 6 months, I think, and they've already updated quite a lot from what the user feedback has been for it. Going back to Dreamweaver, I'm sorry I got off on a bit of a tangent there. If you're used to Dreamweaver, Muse isn't going to be a problem. If you create things as I do, because I want to make this very clear, I'm not an Adobe employee. I'm not an Adobe evangelist. I don't work for them. I don't get kickbacks. But if you're listening, I'll take kickbacks.
What's that rifle? What's that rifle pointing at your head, though? Is that?
The Adobe Hit Squad is here.
That's right. They're always following all of us.
The amazing thing is they came in with a beautifully designed gun. Who knew?
Yeah.
But it only fires bullets accurately 1 out of every 7 times.
It was the opportunity to actually get a program that could do all of the things that I need to know how to do but don't know how to do is what sparked my interest in Muse. As soon as I read on some of the Adobe blogs that they were coming out with this code named Muse, which is going to be a program where you could open it up exactly as you would Photoshop, Illustrator, and it would have all of that functionality, but you'd be able to build a website without having to know any code, and I know a minute amount of coding. I know a lot more than I did when I actually started Muse, but that's only because I went back and actually started to research how to do it. For Muse, you actually don't need to know any code. You don't need to know how to do even the smallest hyperlink. Muse does everything for you. I take most of the designs that I do in Photoshop or Illustrator as a flat design and would slice it up as you might do with any other website that you were designing and giving off to your developer. I simply take that and I slice up the pieces that I need, map them out exactly as I want them, drop them into Muse, essentially hit preview, and as long as everything is working as I would like it to, I can publish it to the website, to the web within an hour. It's quite wonderful.
And it does work well for that kind of stuff. It's actually rather elegant. It's easy. What kind of major things did they change on the update? I haven't had a chance to look at it in the last week or two.
The update is very nice because they've actually brought in a few things that people have been asking since beta, but it's taken a little bit of time to get to. There's going to be a few things that I absolutely can talk about, and a few things that I can't, only because I haven't gotten to it myself or I don't have that kind of experience with it yet. Some of the things they have added into it are things like smart guides, where, I mean, any particular program that you're using from Adobe would have guides. Well, Muse had guides where you could kind of link things up or eye it, and now they actually have smart guides where you can snap to, and I believe you can snap to. the simple things that you might have in Illustrator or Photoshop, they might not have thought of that in Muse at first, because most of the things that you're doing are, for a grid design. Other things they have now that Adobe is using Business Catalyst, which is Adobe's web hosting platform. I can't speak to Business Catalyst because I haven't used it that much, but if you don't know CR or CSM, I don't even know the full abbreviation of things. Essentially, their web hosting capabilities, if you want to host your website that's not on a GoDaddy or Domain or any of those. Is Domain even still around? You can host your website through Adobe. You can have mail contacts. You can have member portals in your website, and this all goes through Business Catalyst. And as long as you have a subscription to Muse, you get a free website, a free hosting through Business Catalyst. One of the things that Adobe added in this second rollout is forms, contact forms, long forms.
Oh, good.
And that's one of the things that people have been asking for. Now, the one thing about the forms that they added, well, I'm very happy they added forms, because obviously, can you think of 5 websites that you visit every day that don't require some sort of form? The form has to be hosted through Adobe Business Catalyst. You can't take that out to another domain or another hosting company, because it actually has to go through a CRM, somewhere where you can actually keep the information. Unless you're hosting your own server, I believe Adobe has all of that built in. Again, this is one of those things that I can't speak to because I don't know the ins and outs, and as I said, don't work for Adobe, but two of the main things that they have added are something as simple as the Snap to guides and something like forms, which is just absolutely wonderful.
Now, did they add, this is one thing that I thought was missing, if I recall correctly, they didn't have the ability to do layouts where, for example, you have a right side or a left side that never changes. So you could have standard content on that side, and as you switch pages, that content wouldn't change. I don't think they had that capability yet, at least back in the original. Maybe I'm wrong.
Are you talking about a pin capability, to where something would stay static on the page?
I guess you could do that. I know they can pin it, but I was thinking more of in a design format where you have, let's say, the first 2 inches or the first 200 pixels of the right column are static. They don't change. Every time you go to a different page, that's your standard kind of side, or you can put it on the left side, or if you want to put right and
like
left.
A frame?
Like a frame. Kind of like a frame, but it never leaves.
I believe they do. I don't know if it's actually called a frame. I know that Adobe has a lot of tricks inside Muse where you can use this particular asset to create this or create that. A lot of it works doubly. As for unless I actually saw what you were describing, I don't think I could actually talk to it. I just think I'm not understanding the actual.
Actually, I don't know if you're online right now, but you could go to our website, for example, relate.com, relate.com, and then if you notice on the left, there's a series of buttons and things that they can go to. That never changes, no matter what page they're on. That side is always static, and that was done through WordPress. And it's just, they have a particular name for it, and I can't remember what they called it. But basically, it's like a right layout, a left layout, a middle layout. And those layouts are perpetual until you change the page layout. So it's based on a page layout. A page could have multiple layouts. I guess you could do that with Muse. It's just, I don't think it was automatic, at least not when I looked at it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Now that I see what you're talking about, yes, you actually can do this. The thing about Muse is that Muse has a great option where you have a bunch of different master pages. You can have one master page at the bottom that it's just your home screen. You can have another master page at the bottom that can control all of your interior pages. And as long as you implement that master page on any of the pages where you want something to be static, Oh, I'm very sorry. I didn't turn my phone off. I apologize.
I thought it was time to wake up for a second. That's my alarm.
As long as you implement that particular master page to whatever the page is that you're working on, you'll be able to have that as those static buttons will stay exactly where they are.
Okay. Okay.
Jim,
So
you
basically,
mentioned-
you do it through a master page.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So, Jim, my understanding is that the Muse team has a lot of the InDesign engineering team on it, so that it has a similar feel. Is that
I
true?
believe they do.
So if people are used to InDesign, it's a pretty easy transition?
For people used to InDesign, for any of them, well, yes, especially for people used to InDesign because of the layout capabilities that it has to it. If you look at some of the interactions where you have a page layout in InDesign and the page layout that you'd be looking for in Muse, I'm not going to say they're exactly similar, but you'll definitely have a much better understanding of Muse if you're familiar with InDesign.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd say bar none, if you want to build a quick website, I can't really think of anything that would do it faster than the way Muse was. And yet with quite a few features. They've got a lot of little features. You've got Lightbox features. They make it easy to do. I think I believe they had a slideshow feature. They had the photo Lightbox feature. You could add videos to things. It's fairly straightforward.
Oh yeah, it's very nice. I mean, Muse has a bunch of different menus that you can go into and grab any of the various assets. And as you said, they have Lightbox and they have various transitions and slideshows. I've designed 2 websites right now. One of them for a soccer board that I'm on in Washington, D.C. called dcspurs.com.
Mm-hmm.
And in that we use the slideshow under our galleries, and actually a few of those. No, I take it back. Sorry, I just redesigned it a few weeks back. So I was going to say that some of the static buttons that you were talking about we have, but we removed those. Actually, I will say that site was awarded the Muse Site of the Day for design.
Great.
But we've taken advantage of a lot of the just quick interaction that Muse has from the menu to the page, where you don't have to code or know Java, anything like that. It's a simple grab and drop, and then you place whatever it is that you're looking for into it, make sure that it's the dimensions that you want, it looks exactly how you'd like, and hit preview and publish, and your website can be up. As for text, as you were talking about with lists and things like that, they have a simple text tool that you can just drop anything in. It's got hyperlink buttons. It's got one of the things they did just put in with the new rollout that they did a few weeks back is now you can actually link to files where you couldn't before. So you can now download a PDF instead of having to host that particular file as an image.
Right.
You can now have a client or a visitor download pretty much anything that you're looking for, whether it's a wallpaper JPEG, whether it's a 100-page PDF of some sort of operations manual. They're really, really listening to a lot of the things that the Muse users say, which, if you are interested in Muse, you should definitely go and check out the Muse forums on Adobe's website, just so you can actually get a better idea as to what people are saying about it. I've talked with quite a few people in there, both on the forums and in person, and they really listen to what the user has to say. If you're looking for a program that will absolutely make it easy to jump right into web with the knowledge that you have of the Adobe products you're using now, Muse is the way to go.
Yeah, can't disagree there. Any comments in the chat room, Kirsten?
No, we're mostly talking about the price of Creative Cloud right now. But that you can get Muse on its own individual subscription.
You can?
Yep.
Yes, you can.
So Muse by itself, I think it's $14.99 if you sign up for a year, for each month.
Yes, I believe so.
So they're charging about $200 a year for it, give or take.
Yeah.
I believe it's $14.99 or $14.95 if you sign up for a year, but they will bill you monthly.
Right.
And I believe, don't quote me unless I don't have the numbers in front of me, it's $29 or $25 if you go per month.
Okay. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. You just have to be careful with one thing with that. We talked about this last week. On any of those subscriptions, a lot of times if you have more than one product against one Adobe ID, they screw you over big time. It's nasty. They disable your products. You have to call up. Well, I think we've probably spent 12 hours on the phone in the last month trying to get our stuff reactivated. It's really a pain.
Yeah, they're definitely working through the kinks on that.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So right now, the sites, if people want to make sure they see the material, dcspurs.com, Jim?
Yes.
That's the site that you built entirely in Muse?
Yes, it's dcspurs.com.
And then there's forums.adobe.com/community/Muse is the forums for Muse.
Yes, it is.
Okay? So just for the recording. There we go.
Oh, that DC Spurs looks great.
Thank you.
So what do you hope to get? What features do you hope they add to Muse?
Good question. I'd like there to be a little bit more of a diversity between the way that the website stays static and the interaction of the actual elements on there. Now, what I mean by that is there's a new trend that's going to be happening, and I say it's going to be happening because a lot of browsers aren't really able to hold it right now, where the image will move one way, the background will move another way, and yet another image will come in, and I know there's a name for it, and I cannot remember.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's
you mean
kind of
like
cool.
CSS3 stuff?
CSS.
So more advanced cascading style sheets material, is that what you're talking about?
No, I think it's more like an HTML5 animation kind of thing where you've got things floating around a little bit, and it's kind of neat. I've seen some websites do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, there's a great example of the website. It's called moseandbows.com.au. It's MOS and MOSANDBOWS.com.au. I have absolutely no idea what it's actually for, but the design of the website and how all of the pieces interact are just incredible. I find it beautiful, and I think that a lot of websites are going to start to be using this particular type of interaction. I'd love to see them.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever. Sorry, question for you.
Yeah.
If you do a site in Dreamweaver, can you pick it up and redesign it in Muse?
I believe you can. I'm going to say believe because
well, you can when it's published. You can take a published Dreamweaver site and try to import it.
Yes, you can. The nice thing about Muse is that since it does create all of the code, the script, everything for you in a Muse export, you can take it and you can open it in Dreamweaver, preview it, redesign it if you so feel, and I believe that you can do vice versa. You can take the Dreamweaver code and you can open in Muse. Now that I'm hearing myself say it out loud, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I don't see why you can't.
Of it. I think you can import it, but you can't really do much. You can't change it too much. I think you can only change it as much as Muse will allow you to change it.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to go in and add.
No. So my feature request is that they make it exactly like Dreamweaver, but easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep the Muse interface, but make it exactly with all the power of Dreamweaver.
That wouldn't be too bad. The nice thing is that the Adobe team has now started to allow you to easily integrate with their new HTML5 animation program, which is still in beta testing.
That's Edge, right?
What's that?
Is that Edge?
Edge, yes.
Edge is cool.
I just downloaded it myself about 2 days ago, and I'm starting to fool around with it a little bit, and I like it.
It's like Flash before Flash went off the deep end the other way.
That's another story.
That's a whole other story. Yeah, let's create a schizophrenic development platform and wonder why nobody wants to use it anymore.
Yes, yes. Although I'm as I've been getting more and more into web design, and we're going to get off of Muse here in a second. I've noticed that I don't really think Flash is going anywhere just yet. Flash is going to be around for quite a while.
Not yet. It's still good. It's just not. It's not going to be on a lot of tablets, because Adobe completely stopped doing any development on the Flash player after 11. We're done. No more mobile development. At least for now.
But when you think, I believe it's something like 70% of all apps right now still use Flash. It's going to take a little while to switch over to HTML5 or.
Yep. And HTML5 doesn't do exactly the same things either.
No, not at all.
It's different. But designers are probably happy, because Flash for design was really strong in the 90s, and then in the 2000s Flash really became much more of a programming environment, and they've tried to make everybody happy, but it doesn't always quite work that way. They're two totally different mindsets. Oh,
totally. I mean, Flash became its own, Frankenstein's monster, and then kind of ran rampant. I tried learning Flash for maybe about a week before the migraines wouldn't subside anymore, so I had to give it up. But with Adobe's Edge, I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how, since they've already started to allow Edge to work almost seamlessly with Muse, I'd really like to see how that relationship grows with the new releases of Muse that they
that'll be interesting. I think the whole issue with Edge is, as long as they don't try to make it another Flash, here we go again, another programming language and a design tool, I think if they do that, they'll blow it.
I would like to hope they've learned their lesson.
You never know. This is Adobe.
This is true.
By the way, Kirsten, you had me going on when we talked about the rifle days ago. Yes, they fire 1 out of 6 bullets actually hits the mark, and that was good.
All right, so here's my question for you. I am a designer who has no interest in HTML at all. Do I have a code view I need to learn?
No.
Can I get into a code view if I want to learn it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can write a code view live in Muse as you would like a double screen as you can with Dreamweaver.
Okay.
No, I'm asking, is that the code view that you're?
Yeah, that's the code view I'm talking about.
Okay. Good question.
I don't think it has that.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the split screen either.
And I don't think you can touch the HTML in Muse beforehand. I think they're trying to protect you from actually messing yourself up.
Yeah, you actually have to export the HTML, and then you can open an HTML document, but you can't look at the code view while you're actually designing in Muse, as far as I know.
Now, what would make sense is design the whole thing in Muse, export it as HTML, and then bring it into Dreamweaver for any real tweaks you want to do. That would be interesting. It would make it unmaintainable afterwards, but if you want to get something...
So there's no code view, really? There's no code view in Muse?
That's not the goal of it. It's really not that goal.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying, can I view the code after it's exported? You can view the code after it's exported by opening up the HTML document.
Okay, in a browser, but Muse itself does not have a working with code environment.
It's not built for HTML geeks.
No.
Okay.
Not there. No. That's not what it wants to do.
No, that's Dreamweaver altogether.
Okay. So if someone absolutely has the, breaking out in hives when it comes to HTML, but has design skills, Muse is pretty much the right fit for them. Up to what point? At what point should they consider going over to something like Dreamweaver?
If they get comfortable enough in code to want to build a website just using code, I guess.
Okay.
I've found that even HTML designers who open up Muse, I should say designers who know Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and code, and open up Muse, while they may have reservations about what Muse can do right now, they still think it's a pretty impressive program. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of web designers who look at Muse and will say it's not going to last, it can't do this, it can't do this, it can't do this. But with as fast as Muse is changing and as fast as they're actually adding things and listening to the customer, I can tell you that when I started using it, it was pretty bare bones. There wasn't a lot there. There was more than I could do with code. And from how they've changed it from the first beta that I saw to this new release now, it's a big jump. It's really impressive.
So it's constantly, because it's on subscription only, so it's constantly growing.
It is. And the nice thing about it being on subscription, while I know there's a lot of people who don't want it to have subscription only, as soon as an update is released, you get to download it. You don't have to wait for the software on disk. You don't have to wait for any sort of large announcement. You're not waiting that, year and a half, as it would be, for CS.
Yeah.
12,
CS
whatever.
Next.
Well, no, Adobe did a great job
CS Next.
kind of copying that Apple App Store model, which is just fabulous. Anytime you get new versions or updates of any software, here they are. Boom, there, you've got them, and it's so easy.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And with the subscription model, at least for Muse, as long as you say yes to the update and open it right up, I mean, you can see everything that's changed. Boom, it's right there. And you now have total access to it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So Muse is a drag and drop interface, no HTML, easy to use for people who've used other design products.
Correct?
That's about right?
That's about right, I think.
Yeah. The only HTML, the only code, and please don't think that I'm backtracking here, but the only code that I've actually had to put in when I'm working with Muse is either a Facebook widget, where you have to go into Facebook and arrange the dimensions that you want, copy the code that Facebook gives you, and paste it in, or Twitter. And the nice thing about how Muse did those particular types of interfaces where you're handling those widgets is, as I said, when you go into Facebook, you select your colors. Twitter, you select your colors, your dimensions, how you want your icon to be, all in Twitter, and you say generate code. Twitter gives you the code, and you copy it, and you open up whatever page you want that widget to go to in Muse, and you just hit paste. You don't have to put it anywhere. You don't have a box to draw. Just hit paste, and the widget comes up, and it works perfectly.
Wow.
You don't have to open an HTML code. You don't have to say put it at 20 pixels this way and 180 pixels this way. Just hit paste, and it'll drop it in, and you move it where you want it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's actually really nice.
Does it have templates that you can start with?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. They were talking about having a third-party template thing, but I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard that, but I haven't seen it myself. I have a few various websites that I go to, especially if you just want to get an idea, since Muse works as a grid system. If you don't really know the grid of how to build a website and you want to get a great idea, go to gridpack.com. That's gridpak.com. And in there, it's a great website built by Erskine Design, where you can select the width of the page of the website that you want it to be. You can select as many columns. You can select the column width. And you get a preview right in this web page as to how big your website would be, how the columns would look, how the column width would look.
And this is Creative Commons. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it's a wonderful site. I try to push this out to everybody as much as I can, and the nice thing about GridPack is that when you get a layout that you want, you can download it. You can download the PNG. It gives you a PNG and a CSS, and not that you will need the CSS file if you're going to do it in Muse, but with the little widget that GridPack has right on the side, you can open up Muse and just type in those numbers, and you'll have your website that you've laid out with grid
really
right
cool.
in front of you.
That's really cool.
Oh, I like it. Very, very nice. So what's your next Muse project?
My next Muse project will actually be, I'm currently redesigning my own site right now using Muse. I'm going to be redesigning Villain Associates, which is my design company that I run. And at the same time, I'm going to be designing something that's very similar to the soccer website DC Spurs, but I'm going to be doing it for a nationwide organization for the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters of America, which, if you happen to be a Spurs fan and you're watching, you can find it on facebook.com/Tottenham America. Little plug there.
Awesome.
That sounds great.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, Jim, you have another site, too, that you're getting under construction right now. It's another company you're doing?
That would be the Villain Associates that we're working on right now. In addition to that, which is my design company that I do for freelance, I also run an online internet T-shirt company called toplesshirts.com, and it's topless shirts with 3 S's in the middle. If you'd like to check it out, and if you like funny, snarky shirts, then hey, I'm right up your alley.
Excellent.
Well, that's great. Well, Jim, I'm so glad you could make it on, and I know you came on last moment, so we really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And Kirsten, as always, episode 2 wrapped up about 45 minutes on that one.
Perfect.
Pretty well. 40 minutes. We did about 40, which is pretty good. So that's
All right.
great. And next week we've got Justin Seeley, Photoshop expert and Illustrator guy, working at lynda.com right now.
Very cool.
I think I'll tune in for that one.
Oh, good. Yeah, Justin's great.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Same here. Appreciate it. Kirsten, till next time, Jim, have a good one.
Thank you, Rick.
And we'll see you guys next week on eMediaChat. Take care, everyone.